Okay, hello. I feel like I haven't spoken to you in a while and we're just jumping on, but that's okay. That's the way I like to do it without any my hair's going well. Um yeah, like nothing pre-thought about, I suppose, just off the bat, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Always.
let it roll, have the conversation.
So I suppose for me this week is all about like vision boards. I've put in there breath works, meditation, getting real with your vision and so on. And obviously you are amazing at all of that stuff. And you have really created the life that you desired, I suppose you could say. And there's like lots of cool things that have come into play for you. I don't know if you've actually frozen now before I continue on. I think you have. No. Carla, can you hear me?
Oh,
Oh,
there you go. You're back.
man. Yeah. Okay. Could you hear me still?
I could hear you, but it was just a bit like roboty for a second, and then you just froze on my end.
Perfect. Just what we
Yeah,
need.
I'm not sure what's going on.
I don't know what's going on because my reception is happening. So yeah, basically I was just kind of saying that yeah, you have done some amazing manifestation things in your life and your time, and you have had so much success with journaling and breath work as well. And yeah, it's very inspiring. And now you're traveling around with your family on your bus and living your best life. So I suppose yeah, for me, probably the most powerful thing that has aligned with me is my vision boards. Like they have been something that I've continually done since I feel like maybe 8, 9 years now. And it was really cool. The other day I forgot about this, but a vision board I found from 4 years ago, super random, is actually the car I bought last week.
Oh my God, the best.
Exactly the same car. I was like, I completely forgot about that. And I didn't even think I want, like, it was so odd. I was like, that was on my vision board all those years ago. So yeah, and then Casey and I were talking the other day, something like cool and fun to do. And this was his idea actually. And he was like, you know what? He's like, let's make a vision board of things that we are going to do in our life that are like one-off things. So he wants to do a ballroom dancing competition. He's like, let's just do a random, like, we're not in it to win it, but just to say we've done it. He wants to do a fight. He wants to do these like random things. And I suppose it's all about getting that vision out. So we're going to create a vision board of things that we want to do as a one-off in our life. So I thought that was really cool and powerful because even him, who's very much not inclined to believe in things that are a bit out there, is like these vision boards are something else. So
Yeah.
and I think as well it's important for people, like I know that people are watching this that have gone through my course have already done one, but I like to do them regular, like even if it's every 6 months. Like I generally do them yearly, but sometimes it might be half yearly where it's like, you just kind of want to rejig what it is, what you pack, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's been super powerful for me. I haven't got into the breath work space as much as I would like, but I do see the power in that as well. Um, Meditation, obviously, to calm my crazy mind is really powerful. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. But I really want to hear what your biggest, I suppose, like successes have been in and your craziest stories.
Yeah, I'd love to share. Actually, it's so beautifully aligned because I did a live yesterday on this same topic inside of my own group. And I was like, I didn't even think, like, I'm pretty bad unless it's in my calendar. I really like don't know what's going on with my life because my life is like a rainbow in the calendar. So I was like, I'm gonna do this live inside my group about manifestation. I was like, oh my God, I got my live with Candy tomorrow too about this same topic. So perfect. I love now everything to do with manifestation and woo woo and journaling and breath work, but it wasn't always like that. I was like before I started my journey into the online space and really deep diving into my personal development about 5-6 years ago, I didn't really believe in this kind of stuff. I was just kind of like, oh, that's a bit woo woo crazy, like whatever, like what even is that? And then when I started really delving into my own personal development journey, and even just like as a real base start level, reading the book The Magic and being grateful and stuff, and they have you really get clear on what you really want to create in your life. Like, what is it? What are your goals, your dreams, your desires? And you were just talking about doing a vision board for like your kind of bucket list. We have that too. We don't have a vision board, but we have a list of random ass things that we want to do that would just be so friggin' fun. Like, and as a couple and personally.
What's the top two?
Well, I was reading through mine the other day and I just added a new one because we're going to Cairns next week and I'm going to tick it off, and I'm actually shit scared because I've always wanted to go bungee jumping, and every time I've gotten somewhere where I could do it, I've chickened out and I've been like, oh, that just doesn't seem like something I want to do at this point in my life. But Tommy like found a brochure the other day and he was like, oh, I think it's a sign. And I was like, oh, my heart's like palpitating, but I think I'm just going to do it. So I want to do that, and I really want to air ballooning in Morocco, and we're going to Europe later in the year, and I'm locking that baby in as well. I'm like ticking things off my bucket list this year like there's no one's business. So they're just two like random ones. Tommy's got random things like wants to catch a fish that's too heavy for him to pick up, like a big ass fish. Like just random things. They're like nothing like super fancy or like out there. But something that I've come to realize throughout my journey is that if it's hard for you to get clear on what you want, breath work, meditation, and journaling will help you beyond no bounds. Like having that presence and that time and that clarity just to be, so much comes up. And there's so many beautiful free guided breathwork sessions. You can do them in like 5 minutes online, on YouTube, on Instagram, like wherever. You can find them everywhere. And that really helps. And what I've found through that journey is like, you don't just have to have one goal or 2 goals or 10 goals. Have shitloads of goals, like as many as you want. Have a list of thousands of things that you want to create in your life so that they are there in your mind and you know and you are aware of them, rather than just being like, I want a big house and a big car and a big boat. Be like, okay, I want a house here and I want it to look like this and I want it to feel like this and I want this to be the view. I want it to face this direction. I want to have 2 balconies. I want a pool. I want this kind of garden. I want a veggie patch out the back. Like every detail about that house, like get really super clear on it. And that's the kind of like manifestation and vision board style that I use, is like a lot of detail. And there's 3 kind of components to it that I shared yesterday. There's scripting. So I like to script out like my ideal perfect day if there were no restrictions on anything in my life. Like, what would my ideal day look like? Where would I be? Who would I be with? What would I be wearing? What would we be doing? What school would my kids be going to? What car would I be driving? What kind of food would I be eating? Like, what would I be doing in my day? Like every single detail, just script it out as if it's already happened. So I literally like start the script, and mine is pages long because I'm like details.
Yeah.
And I read it regularly if I'm in a bit of a funk, or I'm like, oh, life is just like getting me right now. I'm like, no, this is what I'm creating, this is what I'm manifesting. And it's literally like I wake up in the morning, like really detailed. Like I wake up in the morning and my bed is so soft and cozy, and the sun is like streaming through my curtains and the breeze isn't flowing through them. And I can hear the ocean, the birds cheeping, and I have no alarm, and just like really lots of details. And then like I have like a fully organic, wholesome breakfast cooked by my personal chef, like, you know, like really detailed about what you want. And the more detail, the better, because then the clearer you are on your vision, and but you've got to word it as if you've already created it. So essentially it's like a vision board in written form. And the second type of like manifestation tool I like to use is future pacing. So essentially you can do it in 2 forms. You could do it in like a video to yourself or like a voice note to yourself. And it's just you congratulating the shit out of yourself for creating what you desired. So you set a goal. So I've got some really big goals this year. So my script at the moment is, it's the 31st of December, 2023. And I fucking did it. Like I created everything I wanted. I listed all in detail what I wanted to create. And I'm like, I did this and I did that, and we traveled here and we went there, and I got this much money, and now I'm generating multiple 5 figures every month consistently on autopilot, and all these kind of things that I want to create. And just hype yourself up, like congratulate the shit out of yourself. Just be like, I'm so friggin' stoked that I just did all of that. Like, holy crap. And now I'm celebrating by doing this. And listen to that regularly and train your subconscious mind to believe that that's already happened. And the third part, so there's scripting, future pacing, and the third part is like a visual vision board. So like I'm traveling and we are like in a bus, so I don't have much free wall space here, but I do mine digitally. I just went onto a program called Canva and I just create like one for my phone screen. I've got one on my laptop screen. I've got one on the iPad screen. They're all the same, but they're just like different shapes because they're on different devices. And you can just pull up a template from Canva and fill it with photos that are the exact thing you want, not like close because you can't find something that is the thing. Like you have to find a photo that is the thing. So if you want the specific car, it's got to be the color, the same shape, the same year, like the exact, if you want like, if it was me, I'd have a four drive. So like the roof rack and the side steps and the bull bar, like if you want all that, like it's got to be the thing. Or if you want a house on land, like don't just pick any random barn house on land photo that you can find on Google. Like find one that's like, oh shit, that's it. Like, yes, I really want that. Like it's really got to invoke like a feeling deep down inside of you that like activates like this is it. Like even to like I've got one, I don't know if you can see, there's like a little fire pit. Like I'm like, yes, fuck yeah, I want that fire pit in my backyard. Imagine all my friends coming around and like having drinks around that. That's the one. And like sunrises over the ocean, like photos that just really feel good. I've got an emblem for the kids, the school I want my kids to go to. Like I'm just manifesting. We're traveling at the moment, but I'm manifesting that in a year and a half when my daughter goes to high school. We've got a beautiful like block of land somewhere. We're fully self-sufficient and off grid. My kids can go to like a nice small school, but still like have like a beautiful community around them. And I've just got like every single detail in there, like even down to the fact like I'm like 30K months every month, like so much detail. And it's on this tiny little screen. I pick up my phone, I don't know, 50 times a day. I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. Like, and it just subconsciously training my brain to like really feel into it. So they're like the three main things that I do. And for me, it's all about feeling it, like feel like really, really feeling it. Yeah.
So what about,
that was a lot that I just downloaded.
no, I love it. And I totally agree. And I am very much for that whole, how will this feel once I've achieved this? Like, and really sitting with it as well. I'm so agree with you there. And it was so interesting. Yeah, like even that car all those years ago, I remember going like, I would love to have that big black four-wheel drive. And it was funny because I actually had the black Prado.
Yeah.
And so I thought that
was it.
was me actually getting that part of my vision board. Not for a second thinking that 2 years later I was actually going to get the same make and model. And it's so odd because I'm just like, I thought I already had it. But
but maybe then you thought you wanted something else in the moment and then you got something else and you're like, no, it was that, I needed that. And you're like, yeah, you're bringing it back.
And then
full circle moment.
Like sat in that car, and I didn't think of that at that point when I got that car, and it was a big thing to get it. And just trying to find one. There were 6 in the country, 6 black ones, six, and majority of them white, like they're all in Western Australia, 1 in Queensland. And I was like, I'm not going to buy it white. Like I'm not going to do it. Like it's not going to happen. And it's so interesting because when I like came to it and actually got like sat in it, I was like, this is exactly what I want. Like it's so big and luxurious and exactly what we need for our family to do the travels and the things that we want to do. And I was like this instant feeling of like, that's the feeling I was seeking. And suddenly now I can go on adventures again. I can go camping again. I go like, and it was so weird because it's that same thing of that feeling that I had and I knew that I was seeking, but I just didn't realize that if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And it could happen on any level. It doesn't have to be the big car. It could be like a certain designer like clothes that you like to wear, or maybe you like to wear like pure linen clothes and you put on the shirt and it just feels really good, or like a beautiful anklet, or getting your hair done at a certain salon and it's just like, oh my gosh, this makes me feel so good. Like it's got to be that like feeling.
Yeah, totally. Exactly right. Like that was obviously extremely large scale, but the same thing with just little things like my last vision board. I thought we were going to stay at this house, and I was like 100% committed. I was like, look, we're just going to do up this house to what I want. I really want an ensuite. Never had an ensuite, but that's what I really want. I really want a walk-in wardrobe. And I had this I had land on there from the previous vision board. And then I had a bathroom, a new bathroom, and I had a pool, and I had a new gate as well. So I had these like little things that were super specific, like, and at that time I was like thinking about it in this house. And now I've looked back at my vision board and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like getting this all in my new house.
I think
All,
that's the beautiful thing. Hey, it's like you give the details out there and then bless and release and know that it will come back in the right way. Maybe it's not how you expected, like Candy, like maybe she just wasn't supposed to stay in this house, but she wanted those details. And if it wasn't going to come from this house and she bought land and built a brand new house that is exactly what she wants, like because she blessed and released the like exact way it was going to come to her. She put the details out there, like this is what I want, and then just let it come in. Like you don't have to like dictate every single like part
no,
along the way. Just like be super clear on the details and the feeling that you want to get, and then
totally.
bless and release. Yeah.
And it's so interesting. And I honestly just didn't think there was a moment where I was like, oh, that's not going to happen. Like I actually thought like, oh,
Yeah.
that was not
It's
lasting.
usually right before it actually happens.
So I actually made a whole new vision board and I was like, oh, I didn't get that and I didn't get that and I didn't get that. And then I was like, hang on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a big believer. So I guess like at this point, a lot of people are on their self-discovery journey. And, you know, some of the ladies on here are looking to lose weight, get fitter, be healthier for their family. So what in that space, like, again, I suppose it's about envisioning, and I'm never a big one on like a specific number on the scales, but in saying that, sometimes that specific number can actually be super helpful because it's
Yeah.
like you're envisioning that and people are like, oh, you don't ever want to be the scale number. But at the same time, it's like when you actually imagine what it's going to feel like from after your hard work and when you're fit enough and you felt those feelings, like I believe in that whole, you can also do that on your weight loss journey or your health journey or your fitness journey as well, equally to the other things. Like whilst my vision board is half materialistic things, I suppose, of the things I want to bring in, there's also other things I put on there, like the feelings I've got, you know, like running and fitness and I've got, you know, happiness and all words as well that I like to bring in.
Yeah.
So yeah, like what would your kind of tip be of somebody who is maybe struggling at this point to really like stay on track? I think that's big, probably the biggest thing is like staying on track and, you know, knowing that they've got that goal and they want to lose those kilos because they want to have a better lifestyle for their family. But then with the steps that they need to take, like, you know, the boring things like tracking food.
The tracking, yeah.
The tracking. It's not a fun thing, but once you go through that kind of mundane thing, we know where we're at really. And it's just another tool. Like a lot of people track how many times they meditate, how many times they go for a run. If they're getting better at runs, they track so many things in their lives, finances. But when it comes to that, it's suddenly like, oh my God, that's icky, that's bad, it's naughty. It's just, it's odd because it's like, it's just another tool to stay on track for a healthier version of you. So what, I guess, would you say would be something to kind of like click those habits and that thing into gear to actually get the vision you want?
There's a few parts. So the first one, what you were saying about breaking your goals into kind of like sections, that is perfect. So you can have like material things, personal things, you can have clothing, lifestyle, work, career, health, fitness. And what I do, I have health and fitness goals. They never have a number. They're more about the feeling. And I sound like a broken record, but like I want to wake up in the morning and be energized. I want to be able to run around with my kids. I want to be able to play team sport. I want to be able to run 5Ks and not feel like I'm going to freaking die. Like all these things around like how I want to feel and be and do. And like I want to be like toned and fit, not like I want to be X amount of kilos generally. I don't really focus on the number, but more about the feeling I want and the way I want to be, the energy I want to be in. Another thing that I do and I recommend to some of my clients, and it is a bit weird, but if you're a person that's in the thick of it right now, you're struggling, it's overwhelming, you feel really uncomfortable, and you're just like, how the fuck am I going to make this work? Sorry for dropping so many F-bombs, by the way. What I do in that moment, if I'm like at that low point, I write a letter in my journal to myself being like really open and honest of where I'm at, like at my bottom. So I'm like, fuck, it is hard right now. I never want to feel like this again. Like it just feels so overwhelming. I'm so lethargic. I have no energy. I feel really overweight and like flabby, and just like be honest and fucking brutally honest with yourself of where you are at that bottom. And then I just keep that as like a reminder of where I was. So even through my journey, if I'm only taking little steps and getting a little bit more further ahead in my journey, I can remember where I was at my bottom. I'm like, oh, babe, I'm so proud of you. Even though it doesn't feel like you've come far because you've been in the thick of it, you've come so far from that like broken, overwhelmed, tired, exhausted woman that started this journey 5 years ago. Like, oh, I'm getting teary. I wrote a letter to myself like 5 years ago, and I read it sometimes. I'm like, oh, babe, like if I could just fast forward 5 years and tell you what life would be like if you just stuck with it, like you would be so proud. Like, and I just like think of that woman like back then, how broken and sad she was. And then I'm like, look at what you fucking created. Like, how crazy, just because you've remained consistent and doing little steps along the way. And the third part is, and I'm a huge believer in habit stacking. It makes it so simple, like, because you already have a routine, whether you think you do or you don't, you're doing the same things most days. So you're getting up, you're brushing your teeth, you're doing your makeup, you're taking the kids to school, you're driving here, you're driving there. So the things that you do every day, excuse me, add one thing that you want to do on top. So maybe like when you're doing your makeup in the morning, listen to a motivational podcast instead of just like being in your head with your thoughts. Or like when you're driving back from dropping the kids off to school, listen to a podcast. Or when you're making your smoothie in the morning, do 20 squats. Or like when you're going to meet with your girlfriend, park 4 blocks away and walk to the restaurant. Like just little things that you already do, add something extra. So what some I like to do are like, I have trained myself over the last year to read consistently every single week. I do most days, read a few chapters. And while I'm reading, I like to smash a whole Yeti. So I'm like, while I'm reading, I'm going to drink this whole bottle of water. Like, and I just do it now. So it's like an extra liter of water just because I'm reading a few chapters, and then I pee like 50 times, but like it's worth it because I got the hydration, right? And like other things like
the toilet because you're like, damn it, I need to pee again. You might just sit on the toilet whilst you're drinking it and reading.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just save yourself some time, right? I love it.
No.
I love it. And I think
things,
that's it. Hey.
Sorry, you go.
No, you go.
Other little things are like, while I'm doing the dishes, like I'll just make a fun game and I'll do a few dishes and I'll do 10 squats, and I'll do a few dishes and I'll do 10 squats. And I'm just like working on the peach. I have this little song I like sing to myself because I'm like, and I know this is so silly, but like I'm busy living life. Like we're traveling, like I'm out there, we're exploring, we're going to like doing tours and checking out waterfalls. And so like I'm a busy woman. Like I don't really have time to go to the gym and find a new gym in every town we go to, like kind of thing. I just make it work for where we're at. And like just there's so many, but that is a really a good way that I've been able to make little changes that remain consistent for me, that don't fall off. Because things like even reading for me was not a thing that I prioritized. It just wasn't. I've always wanted to be a reader. I always wanted to read, but I just never did. And so then I started on my morning walks, I'd listen to audiobooks, and then that kind of got me in the rhythm. And I was like, okay. And then I'd have it stacked with something else. So like I'd go down the beach and lay on the beach and I'd read instead of just laying in the sun. Or like I'd go to school like 20 minutes early and I'd read in the car before I pick the kids up, and just like trained myself to really enjoy reading, and the more you do it, the faster you can read. So you get through it.
I love that. I did my story this morning. I was like, there's something about me that hates not liking things. Like, I don't know what it is. I just get really annoyed. Like I hated olives. This is a prime example. Like I hated them. I was like, they're disgusting. They're sour. They're rank. Like, and I was like, I'm going to make myself like them. If it's the last thing I do. And that sounds so weird. Like, and it's probably like a really weird thing to think, but I didn't like that. My mind had more control over the fact of like, I can control this. Like, this is my choice.
I think that's the thing. Yeah.
It's like, so I've had this whole cardio show of not liking cardio for quite a while. And I'm going into my PT sessions. I'm like, you don't need to make me do some cardio. I said, I'm walking out of here. Like, that's how bad it's getting. Like, and it's so weird because I used to love it. And I'm like, right. So today I was like, today is the day I'm going to learn to love it again. And the way I'm going to do that is by habit stacking. And I'm going to do my this, add the run to it. It's going to start off small, and I'm just going to keep on consistently do it. And I will be a runner soon enough.
Yeah. And that's all it takes.
And it's like, you've got to make that decision and be like, you know, and so many people can make excuses and go, oh, I can't go to the gym. I don't have enough time. It's like, it's just, I'm calling bullshit on it all. Like, you're a busy woman. Yes, you've got a bit more exploration and fun times than say what I do, but I'm also a busy woman, and it's like struggling to fit everything in. But the things that will not let me slide, I will not let slide, is my food, because I can control that really well. Like, I can really control that. I think that people don't realize how much they can control the food component when you're super busy. You can control that. Just don't buy shit things, right?
Yeah.
Like
water, sleep.
Water.
These are all things you can control.
Sleep. Like, they're so easy on a busy lifestyle. Like, I could do so much more, and I would, like, part of me sometimes sits there and goes, fuck, should I just stay up? And I could just smash it out. My days wouldn't be as busy. But then the other component of me is like, no, but I need my 8 hours, because I'm going to be more productive with that versus, you know? So it's like, we all do have control over, like, a lot of aspects, and people just need to start understanding that's like what we prioritize and what you can habit stack and what you can go, these are my non-negotiables: food, water, and sleep.
Yeah, and I think if you just really, like, honestly check in with yourself, if you're not prioritizing something that's not important to you, if you're not drinking enough water, you're not prioritizing it. It's as simple as that. If you wanted to drink enough water and it was super fucking important to you, your life was on the line, you drink enough water, 100%. If you wanted to get 8 hours sleep and your life was on the line, if you didn't, you fucking 100% get 8 hours sleep. We're all busy. Everyone is busy, just in different ways. Like, I can't consistently go to the gym because we travel. I'm in a different town every other day, but I make it possible for me to work out by doing random squats, walking with the kids, going and checking out waterfalls. Like, you know, like, there's ways to get around it. Other things, like, I work online, I do social media. One of the things that I am, like, awful at is sharing my content across the other platforms, which is such an easy, simple thing. I've already created on Instagram. Why not share it to YouTube and TikTok? And this is so maybe relevant or not, but that is like, this is already created. The piece of content's already created. It takes me like 5 minutes to share it to other platforms, so it gets a whole nother reach. Yet for some reason, it's just something I was not prioritizing, and that's something that I've started habit stacking as well. And last week was my first week. I only missed 2 days where I forgot, and I just completely forgot. But 5 days in a row, I did those without doing it for months, and I was like, okay, this feels good. And so this week I'm going for 7, like, just 7 non-negotiable, no excuses, like. And it feels like, when you do the things you say you're going to do and you keep your word to yourself, it feels really good. Like, it feels really good. Really, and it's hard at the start, but it gets easier.
Yeah. And exactly. It's that whole, like, do a month of it, and don't forget your why, revisiting your meditation, your visions constantly, so that you don't forget your North Star. Like, don't forget your North Star. And
and that's the opposite side of that. Like, the letter when you're in your lowest, like, that is the opposite side of your, like, scripting out your perfect day. So, like, you don't want to keep reading that letter when you're at your lowest. Just every now and then, if you're feeling like really like you're in a bad place, check in on where you were a year ago. Like, you know, but most of the time you want to be reading and checking in with your why, your want, what you really desire, what you're wanting to create. And I think that's where the breath work and journaling and meditation really comes in, is that it allows you to tap into your, like, intuition and what is truly inside of you, and really just calm, like, be really present, because we're all busy, we're all crazy, we're all got a lot going on. And if you can take just 5 minutes to check in with yourself, take 5 minutes, and you can breathe the same as you can choose when you sleep, you can choose what you eat, you can choose how much water you drink. You're breathing every day, babe. It's a really powerful tool. Like, you can breathe. There's nothing extra you need. You can sit at any moment and take 10 deep breaths and just check in, like, what's really going on.
I know that we're not gonna, like, you're not a breathwork teacher or anything like that.
Yeah.
What's your, like, quick go-to to self-regulate?
Yeah, so if it's really like a quick moment, it's just 10 deep breaths. So in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4 seconds, and then do it 10 times over. But if I've got like 5 minutes, then I do 10 huge breaths in and out, hold for 10 seconds, 20 huge breaths in and out, hold for 20 seconds, 30 huge breaths in and out, hold for 30 seconds, or as long as you can. And then I just sit there in silence for like a few minutes and be like, what does my intuition want me to know? Like, what is going on inside right now? Like, what should I be doing? If there's something in, like, if it's something specific, I'll ask for something specific. Like if I'm like, okay, what does my intuition want me to know that's going to move my business forward today? Or like, what friends do I need to connect with that I haven't reached out to for a while? Or what can I do for my kids today that'll make them feel really loved? Like if it's something specific, but most times I'm just like, what does my intuition want me to know? Like what is going on inside that I should be really aware of? And they're my two go-tos, and it will just flow out. And that's you journal on the back end of that, and it's a really beautiful way just to check in with yourself regularly. And it's 5 minutes. You can do it in bed before you even wake up, and your husband might think you're weird breathing really heavy beside him, but you know,
that's funny. And I love that, and I think that you have become so powerful in that. Again, it's that consistency that, you know, and you surround yourself in people that are like-minded as well. That's a really good thing, is you know, not being weird. Like when you're around people that aren't on the same sort of like journey or like that next level. And we connected really well because we're both a bit woo-woo.
we were, yeah.
And
exactly.
and I think it's really important to kind of realize that. And as another thing is to just to remind everybody that it is a journey, and you're going to have your days, and you're going to have your, like, for me personally, there's been massive changes coming in hot, like for me, things that were never, that I have never done before or known before are coming in. So it's quite a weird space. And when you're, you know, so I haven't been on flat out social media recently, and that's okay. Like that's just a personal experience of like an example. I know for other people, it's like, I really fell off the bandwagon because this happened, this happened, this happened. We all have those. You have them as well. And, you know, and you've just got to ride it. I think the biggest difference for me personally is that from 10 years ago, 9 years, however long ago, I used to sit in that lower space for far too long. Whereas
catch it.
I'm like, okay, I'm feeling the feels, I'm doing that. And that's okay to feel that. And it might take a day, it might even take a week. And I can pull myself back out. Whereas it used to, now generally it's like could be a couple of hours, but it used to be like weeks. Like I'd be like, oh my God, it's such a fun this and that. Whereas now I'm like it very rarely ever stretches past a few hours. And I think it's just, and it's okay to feel not okay. And I think so many people are so scared to not feel okay now. They're like, I always have to feel happy. I always have to feel this. And generally speaking, like I know that you personally, like, your majority of like you're always on such a high energy level, but I also know that you're somebody who can self-regulate and just go back in and be like, okay, I'm just taking a minute and I need to self
100%.
whereas we all burn out, and people kind of look sometimes
100%.
But sometimes people do literally say to me, like, are you like a unicorn and you never feel like down? I'm like, no, of course I have my down. I'm quite vocal about it with my friends when I have. But we all have those moments, and don't feel ashamed or feel like it's bad. It's okay.
No, and it's just about honoring the season, right? Seasons for reasons. That's what they say. Like everyone's going to go through different seasons, and really breathwork, meditation, journaling will help you to process what is happening. This happens to me every month in my cycle. A few days before I am due for my period, I just have this like, woo, like my energy goes down, my mental health goes down, everything just like plummets for a bit. But I know that it's coming, and I know it's going to happen. My emotions are all over. I'm hormonal as hell, and I'm just like, whoo, that's going to hit. But I can regulate now, where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have a few low energy days. That's totally fine. I'm still going to be positive mindset, and I'm still going to like get on with everything. But I'm just going to allow myself to go through this season for a few days, because it's part of my whole cycle. Is just kind of what happens. And I just like do extra, like pull extra tools out of my tool belt. So I do extra meditation, do extra breath work, do extra journaling, get all the thoughts and feelings out onto paper. And I just like, then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, and she's back. The hormones like chill out, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, just like honoring where you're at and not getting stuck is so important. And I think that's such a huge like personal development leap that we take, and such a breakthrough moment when you get to the point of like not being just like stuck in the slump, and you're like, okay, I'm honoring that I'm feeling a bit shit right now. I'm just going to move through. I'm going to feel the feelings. I'm just going to pack that shit down. Like I'm just going to feel it for a minute, let myself cry if I want, have a big old ugly cry in the shower if you need to, and then we're moving on. We're getting up, we're carrying on, we're going to get shit done. And it's just like not about just pushing it down and not feeling what's going on, more about moving through what's going on, being really clear, and then setting the intention to move forward in a different energy and a different light.
Yeah, completely. And I love all that. Yeah. You said it so well. I'm glad that you said it. You explained it so well. How am I going for time? Okay, cool. So we are on time. We are on task. So obviously you can find anything on Kirra. I have put you on my stories. I was definitely planning on putting up a formal post. That would have been great. I didn't do. I'm like, so I think what I'm going to do is maybe put something up where it'll be all my I don't know. I'm going to think of something, but obviously anybody that wants to reach out, they've seen you this morning. Reach out, let me know, follow Kirra. She's amazing, very positive, and just always coming up with the goods, the golden nuggets, I think. And I'm very lucky to call you my friend. So thank you so much. Did you have anything else, any other words of wisdom for anybody struggling right now?
I thought my only thing is this too shall pass. Like everything is going to be fine. Like you're going to go through hard times in life, but with people around you, being in spaces with people like Candy, like she's such a vibrant energy and she has such a beautiful way of like getting stuff out of people. When Candy and I first met, I went to her because I was on a health journey. I wanted to like really ramp up my health and I wanted to do training and coaching and stuff with her. And the first time I walked into her office, I just burst into tears. I pretty much cried for half an hour and just like gave her my whole life story. And she was just like listening and took it all in and like just such a beautiful, calming presence. And I worked with her for a little while, had a beautiful journey with her. Now we're traveling. So you're really lucky to be in a space with her and have people surrounding you like this. But just know that if it is a funky moment right now, like this too shall pass, and you even being in this space is such a huge step. So congratulating you for having the courage to step forward and want to better your life in whatever way and whatever journey you are on. And that's pretty much it. Oh, the only other thing is if you wanted to do that 5-minute breathwork practice that I was speaking about, it is from a company called Awaken Breathwork. You can find them on Instagram. So it's OWAKEN, and it's their free daily practice. And I just did it guided for like a month or so to remind myself how to do it. And then I just do it by myself now. And it's beautiful. Like it's such an incredible way to just check in. And they have breath work for all kinds of things. You can do breath work to calm, you can do breath work to heighten, like if you need more energy, if you're doing an interview or if you're like going on a run or you're doing whatever you need to do and you need energy, there's different breath work techniques for different things that you need.
So cool. And yeah, you've got so many courses and like you have got you are all over it, and thanks to you, you helped me like try and navigate how the hell I could put this whole thing out there. So yeah, thank you for that, because without you helping me do that, I was like, oh my god. So I think as well, you've got so many free things and seminars and stuff that you do and to help women in your space. So I think you're a very valuable person to have online, because you know so many people follow so many people that don't bring much to the table, whereas you actually do. Like you're all
I'm just all like, for it.
So it's mainly on your Facebook page, isn't it, where you do your
in our Facebook group. So I have a group, Free Collective, which is just about like empowering women to step into their purpose and passion, ignite their power and create the life they truly desire. And we just talk about all kinds of things in there. We're just giving tons and tons and tons of free value. It's such a beautiful, safe space. And all things like online business, personal development, mindset, manifestation, journaling, tons, all the things.
Yes, you're always like, I see your lives and I'm like, oh, she's at it again. I love it. So it's so good, that energy, that power, and doing so. I'm super proud of you, babe, and you're doing so well, and I can't wait to see you again, and hopefully you go bungee jumping next week.
I'm nervous already. Hopefully, I feel like
anxiety over even hearing it, because I'm the same. I'm like, I'd love to do that, but I'm like, oh my god, I might die. My this and that. And
I know. I would skydive a million times again, and not bat an eyelid. Like that was so fun. But something about the like being strapped by your ankles, I don't know. It just something. Yeah, it's always just eluded
me. Gets me.
Where the jolt. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, like is that gonna break it? Like what? Don't look up the injuries.
Exactly.
I did the worst thing the other day. I had to take my cat into the vet for the de-sexing, and then she was like, oh, there could be some issues with the anesthetics. And I was like, so it's kind of like the stats. Like, how long have you been like vetting for? Or she's like, oh, 20 years. And I said, so how many animals have died on the table? And she's like, oh, about 5. I was like, that was a really bad question to ask. I was better off just like, I was like, oh, my God. Like,
yeah.
like, and the fact that she actually gave me the answer, I was like, oh, that's not too bad odds. But she's like, oh yeah,
But
what's
is that like the same kind of thing, like when people ask you how many people you slept with and you just like either like ramp it up or tone it down? Like, is she toning that down? Like, you know.
Isn't it like all females are like ramping it down, all males are like, oh yeah, mate, thousands. Yeah, she should have definitely done the lot. Yeah, I don't know. It could exactly. Who knows what the real number is? That's so funny. Well, thank you so much for today. I appreciate your time. Your time is valuable, and thank you for jumping on. And I hope that everybody loved it. And now I'm going to make sure that I do not delete this. So I'm going to save. But yeah, thank you, babe, and have a fabulous day.
Thanks, babe. Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
Bye.